Hello and thanks for joining me, your sport pilot James Glory, on another exciting episode of Sport Vibe on DNT Work, where we bring you exciting and latest sport happenings across the world of sport every Tuesday, as is our tradition to do so, and this week won't be an exception. So I would implore you to please stay tuned, because we'll be right back shortly after this break. Welcome back. Quite a beautiful moment and a beautiful week to talk about sports events that took place over the weekend and over the week, and we'll be starting from the Roland Garros Open that took place in France, where we saw Coco Gauff being able to win a second Grand Slam title at the French Open, being able to defeat Oyarzabal in the finals of that particular tournament, making it a second Grand Slam title in the world of tennis. Coco Gauff was able to achieve that feat, defeating Oyarzabal, like I said, and became the second US player to be able to win the French Open, following in the footsteps of Serena Williams, who was able to do it in the year 2015, over a decade ago. We could now see that Coco Gauff stepping into the shoes of one of the greatest in the world of tennis, defeating Oyarzabal, becoming the second person to do that as a US player, winning the French Open. Quite an interesting outing for the young talent in the world of tennis. But we won't fail to talk about the most dramatic one that we saw at the Roland Garros Open, where we saw the likes of Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz playing in the finals of the French Open. But before that, you remember that Jannik Sinner was able to defeat the likes of Novak Djokovic in the semi-finals of that competition to proceed to the finals of the competition, where we witnessed the longest French Open tournament between Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner. It was a battle between the first and the second position in the ATP ranking. We know we are up for a ride, but no one would have thought the match would have extended to 5 hours 29 minutes in the world of tennis, and eventually we could see Carlos Alcaraz getting the best of Jannik Sinner yet again. Remember, he was able to defeat Jannik Sinner at the Italian Open, and this time around defeating Jannik Sinner again at the French Open to seal his 5th slam title in 5 finals for Carlos Alcaraz, who is yet to be defeated in the finals of the competition. It's gonna be an interesting one between these two over the years, as they have already set a record for the longest tournament in the French Open. When you talk about the Garros Open finals, quite an interesting outing between them. We could see these two playing it out on the court of play. Remember, these two appears to be like a wizard when they were playing the tennis, but definitely in the game of tennis, there's no draw, particularly in the final. We have to get a winner, and this time around it was Carlos Alcaraz who was able to see the best of the Italian man, where you talk about Jannik Sinner, the world #1, being defeated by the world #2. An interesting outing in the world of tennis particularly, and it's going to be an interesting one to discuss the world of football with you also, as we switch our attention to the just concluded UEFA Nations League, where we saw Portugal winning it for the second time. It looks as though Spain will be heading to win that tournament, but you could see that with the experience that Portugal have, they were able to hold Spain to a 2-0 draw in the full-time whistle, and proceeded to the penalty shootout, where Portugal were able to defeat Spain 5-3 on the penalty shootout. What an interesting ride for Cristiano Ronaldo, who was able to score an equalizer for Portugal, making them have a penalty shootout where they were eventually able to win, causing the goal from Nuno Mendes, who took the decisive penalty. Quite a run that they had to the finals of the UEFA Nations tournament. Remember, they were able to pass through the likes of Germany in the semi-finals to set up a final with Spain, and Spain was able to defeat France to set up a finals with Portugal. But this means that they were unable to win the UEFA National League after they suffered a defeat to Portugal, being able to defeat France. France also in the third place match was able to defeat Germany. Quite an interesting outing in the world of football. You will permit me to go on a very short break, and when we're right back, we get into details.
JK Royal Signatures, a blend of African fabric.
Welcome back, and talking about details in the just concluded UEFA National League, we saw Kylian Mbappe scoring his 50th goal for French national team. Remember that the highest goal scorer in the French national team right now is Olivier Giroud, who has 57 goals. He has been able to be the highest goal scorer for a while now, but we see Kylian Mbappe having age on its side and having so many matches to play for France will be able to meet that tally, and I think he should be able to score about 90 goals before ending his career with the French national team. Kylian Mbappe was able to score at the third place match that was played between Germany and France on Saturday. Remember, he was also able to provide an assist for Mikel, and the match ended 2 goals in favor of French national team, who were able to seal the third place in the National League tournament. And talking about the finals, like we said, Lamine Yamal was pocketed by Nuno Mendes. Quite an interesting one to watch out for. I know football lovers will be looking forward to that particular challenge between Nuno Mendes and Lamine Yamal. But Lamine Yamal, just like he did for Mo Salah and the likes of Saka, he was able to do the same thing for Lamine Yamal. And Lamine Yamal, at the age of 17, is yet to win the UEFA National League. Remember, he has age on his side and he will be winning it anytime soon. But the greatest of all news right now is for the Cristiano Ronaldo fans, who were happy to see Ronaldo lifting the trophy as a captain of the Portuguese team. Remember, he was able to score an equalizer that led them to the particular penalty shootout. It's going to be an interesting one for Cristiano Ronaldo, who has been able to win the Euros. He has been able to win the UEFA National League twice for Portugal. Is a phenomenal player already for the Portuguese team. And quickly, let's switch our attention to the World Cup qualifier, where we saw new faces qualifying for the World Cup 2026. Remember, Jordan were able to book their spot in the World Cup that will be taking place in the year 2026 for the very first time, and we could also see Uzbekistan qualifying for the World Cup for the first time. It's going to be new faces in the World Cup. And also talking about the World Cup, we saw South Korea qualifying for the World Cup for the 11th consecutive time. We will be seeing Brazil playing at the World Cup, because this time around they look to be dropping form, as the first match under Carlo Ancelotti could only be a draw against Ecuador. Remember also that Italian football team might not be participating in the World Cup after they were defeated by Norway. Remember that they have also sacked their manager. Who won't sack their manager? Would Italy not be qualifying for the World Cup for the 3rd consecutive time? They are trying to take precautions to see that Italy will be participating in the upcoming World Cup in the year 2026. And also switching back to the club side, we talk about so many transfer windows ongoing. Mbomo is here to complete his signing to Manchester United. We hope he will be able to complete his signing to Manchester United, who is the ideal striker for Manchester United between the two Victors. Could it be Victor Osimhen or Victor Gyokeres for Manchester United? Remember that the Swedish striker has a record with his manager, where you talk about Ruben Amorim, who is currently managing Manchester United, and also a shocking one for Tottenham Hotspur, as they were able to sack the Postecoglou, after just few weeks of winning the UEFA Europa League with them, they have been able to sack him, and this time around they are out looking for managers. Their likes of Thomas Frank is the manager on the list for Tottenham Hotspur this season. Will they be able to sign Thomas Frank, and will he be able to be leading them to the Super Cup that will be taking place August 13? This is going to be an interesting one to look out for in the world of football, particularly as the World Club Cup is around the corner. But this is the length at which we'll be going on this week episode of Sport Vibe on TNT Work. For more news and sports stories, follow us across our various social media and do a Sport Vibe on TNT Work. Remain a law-abiding citizen. Enjoy your week and stay safe. Thank you.